We also have the privilege of having the European ambassador to the UN, whose name I'm going to mispronounce, Ambassador Ale de Almeida. Thank you. This is a great honor to have you here, and we look forward to having you at our future events. I also want to thank Sue de France, Marianne, who escaped somewhere.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne, for being so generous and hosting us tonight. We all got here despite the Donald Trump. Those of you who don't know what we are, French American Foundation's France in the U.S. were, can you hear me? I'm sorry. Were founded 40 years ago in New York and in Paris by Presidents Ford and Giscard d'Estaing. This is the sort of thing we love to do. We try to enrich the relationship between the two countries by getting together leaders who can talk to us about what they're doing. And the Innovators Series has been great. Some of them have been part of our Young Leaders Program, which is our flagship program. We've had one president of the U.S., we have the current president of France, and we had a breakfast the other day for Macron, who seems to be doing pretty well in this election, so we'll see. But I'm very happy to have a baker here. I have a small bakery upstate called Captain Lepelche, where I try to make baguette du Pelche. That isn't too bad, actually, but it's no cronut, that's for sure. We all love French gastronomy, and it is a major part of the French-American relationship, as you know. Let me tell you about our two guests. Dominique is a French-born pastry chef. I'd like to get him upstate. He owns DOMINIQUE ANSEL Bakery, which is the first bakery opened in New York. Those of you who haven't had the privilege of cronut have undoubtedly heard about cronuts. My daddy used to live across the street, so I managed to get cronuts without waiting in the line. It was literally from here to, I would say, to Kennedy Airport. I've never seen such a line in New York. It was absolutely spectacular. It was so ridiculous. The homeless figured out that this was a great gig, would sit there on the front steps and sell their places to people, or else buy the cronuts and flip them for like 40 or 50 bucks out of Queens, right?
They used to, they don't anymore.
No. This success kind of opened Dominique Ansel's kitchen in New York, a bakery in Tokyo, and now one in London. Is that right?
That's right.
Incredible. The cronut is really worth it, but there are other things down there that are even better. So maybe we'll have a chance to taste some of these tonight, but I know it's going to be a fight. He shook the pastry world up totally when he left Daniel Boulou, and he has had many awards, including the Marie Agricole, which is one of the highest honors in France, so félicitations. He also has a book called Secret Recipes. Melissa is known for her writing about cuisine and other products. She has written 37 books. I'm astonished. Many of them in collaboration with some of the most celebrated chefs. And she's about to launch a cookbook, Dinner Changing the Game. We hope to see this soon. She works for the New York Times and she writes a popular food column. They used to have great respect for each other, and now I'm going to get out of the way and give the microphone back.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. Can you all hear me? Yes. Okay. Welcome, and welcome to Dominique. This is very exciting for me. I just want to preface it by saying I had half a cronut once. That was saved for me by someone from the BBC. He said, if I get a cronut, and I said you have, will you come and talk on my radio show about what you think? Yeah, that's a good deal. So we did.
Hope you said something nice.
What? Of course I did.
Nice.
I did. I mean, I think it's delicious. It's a delicious. I think that, you know, people, there's so many, you know, obviously you know how much has been written, but I think, and this is the point of your book too, you're very involved in the creative process and about pushing the familiar and about trying to take something that we all know is delicious and then putting your personal spin on it and making it even more delicious to you. And then, of course, that translates to all of us most of the time as well. Actually, I'm going to ignore my order. I'm going to come back to how you got your start because I really want to ask you a question. Has there ever been a dessert where you were just so sure it was going to work? You were starting with something that was everybody loves, and then you did something to it that you knew would be fantastic, and then it was a complete failure? Has that ever happened?
I mean, in every story of a success with everything we've done, we've had some failures, of course. Like nothing is perfect, and it's part of the process to actually go beyond those failures and make things work. What works, it's, as I tell people all the time, it's not me that decides at the end. It's our guests, our customers. It's what they like, and if they talk about it, if they decide to write about it, to share it with their friends, to share it with the world, well, it goes viral. But it's not me that decides it. It's more it's them.
Well, have you put a dessert out there where you thought this is fantastic, everyone's going to love it, and people were like, that's all right?
Well, because some of them are more successful than others.
Yeah.
Usually when we start something new, we think about it a lot.
Yeah.
We have a great team, an amazing team that I work with. We think about the food, about the way we present it, about, of course, the taste, the flavor, the structure, the contrast. And we think of the food on a very emotional way. It's very close to people, and we want to make sure that they connect with it. So all the food that we have put out there, has a lot of thought behind it. So it's never like huge failures. So as I said, like some of them are successful, some of them are a lot more successful than expected.
And you won't even put it out there until it reaches a certain point.
Exactly. So it goes through like sometimes hundreds of tests, different tests on not only the flavors, not only the presentation, but also we give it to people that sometimes like are not super foodie, and we see their reactions. And it's important to me to see what people like and what they like.
Do you have friends in your life who are not super foodies who volunteer all the time?
Not too many.
I'm sure they'd be very easy to make if you had a shortage. Speaking of connecting to foods, you write in your book that one of the foods you've never connected to until you were in your 20s was a cookie. You never understood why people liked cookies, which, as an American cookie lover, is shocking to me. Tell me, do the French not? You were saying the French don't really.
Well, it's simple. I'm French.
Yeah.
We don't. Honestly, I don't believe we have good cookies or good recipe for cookies in France. And it's not culturally. It's not something that people eat that much. You will find bakeries, a lot of bakeries with cookies, but they will not be that good. And the one I've had here and the one I make, I can tell you they're damn good. They're simple, but they're really, really good. It's the kind of cookie that, we only bake them fresh, small batches all the time. They come straight from the oven, we give it to you warm. And it's just like tender, like beautifully cooked, nice flavor of chocolate. That's something that everyone here in America grew up eating. That French people don't necessarily connect with, but still I enjoy very much when it's well done.
You were saying in the book that to really appreciate cookies, you had to bake your own. That trying, even the best cookies didn't do it for you, but when you put your hand to it and you baked your own, and you understood the beauty of it. And do you feel like that are there other dishes that maybe Americans don't connect to in France that you think, well, go and make one? I don't know if it's a souffle or just something that is important to make before you can really understand its true nature.
I think making the food is very important, making it yourself, but also think that connecting with the food and growing up eating this kind of food is as important. The culture and food, the connection people have with food is very important. The memories, the emotions, the memories. Growing up eating cookies, for instance, something that every American kid goes through. You bake cookies at home with your mom, with your grandma. You remember the smell of the cookie, the flavor, the warm, hot cookie, packing hot from the oven, biting into it. You remember all these emotions that stick with you for your entire life. And those emotions are really important to the creative part, which I always take in consideration when I do something new. And I want to make sure that people understand the food and connect with it.
Is there a dish for you that was like a first taste memory or something that you remember from childhood that's really important and still informs what you think
Yes.
about it?
Believe me or not,
Yeah.
peanut butter.
Really?
So I tell this story all the time, and I love this story because I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. I was really, really tiny, really little. And I remember my mom going to just a small supermarket in the neighborhood and buying this bread that I've never seen before. And I remember her coming back home, spreading it on a baguette and feeding it to me. And I loved it. I loved it so much that when the jar was done, I asked her to buy some more. And she had run to the supermarket and they were out of it. And they never bought it again. Probably because it was not selling. And years and years and years later, when I was finally, when I moved here to America, working for Daniel about almost 11 years ago now, I remember eating peanut butter because I was so curious about, like trying new things. So I knew what peanut butter was, but I hadn't had it for like so many years. And when I remember like taking a spoon of the peanut butter, and I just had a flashback. It brought me back like 35 years earlier when I had my first taste of peanut butter, and I was like, my God, I love this. I remember I had it first.
So it wasn't Madeleine.
It was not a Madeleine. The peanut butter was great. I love peanut butter.
What do you do with it at the shop? What do you do with peanut butter?
We do a few different things. We change the menu all the time. So I had cakes with peanut butter. I had a lot of different like holiday items flavored with peanut butter. I do a lot of different things with it.
So okay, let's back up a little bit so you can tell everybody how you got started. You grew up in France and you wanted to bake since you were like a young adult, a teenager almost, right? You were.
I mean, yes, I started earlier, but well, I grew up in a small town north of Paris. It's called Beauvais, if you know the France. You know Beauvais?
I'm from there, so.
I'm sorry. So this is a small town with a factory workers. My dad used to work in a factory that was last of four child. And my mom stayed home taking care of the kids. I grew up with my grandma, my cousin, dogs, cats. We didn't have much. And when I was 16, actually my parents couldn't afford to send me to get education. So I decided to find a job for myself. And at the time I had no idea what I wanted to do. All I knew is that my mom was a horrible cook. And I had to spend a lot of time in the kitchen, unfortunately. But I really enjoyed actually being in the kitchen and trying to cook decent food for ourselves. And I started working in a restaurant after, when I was barely 16. I found a job in a restaurant, and the same town had a program for kids that needed help. So I had the chance to follow a program to teach them how to cook, cooking school, pretty much. And this is how I got started. So I had no idea what I wanted to do. My first year in the kitchen was horrible, unfortunately. It was pretty bad.
Isn't that the way it goes though? From young
I don't think
kids
it's the way it should go though.
Right.
I believe in that new generation of chefs. I believe in people that are professional, responsible, people that are teaching, good mentors, good leaders, and this is what I try to do from my kitchen in Tokyo, London, or New York. I really emphasize the kitchen culture to be not hostile, but more teaching, leading, and educating the next generation, and sharing as well, sharing everything we have. There's no hidden recipes. There's no swearing in the kitchen. There's no losing the temper in the kitchen. Just professional, respectful chefs. And this is unfortunately not the way I grew up, but it's not the way I want my kitchen.
What about in Fauchon? So that was your first job as a pastry chef. You went. You read that in your book that you went to Fauchon and that they were hiring seasonal workers, I guess, before Christmas, or?
Yeah, that's right. So I started at Fauchon in Paris. Was 20 years old. I randomly walked by. I dropped off a resume. At the time, people were not really sending emails. So I printed out a resume and dropped it off. I asked to talk to the chef, and the manager at the time was like, "Oh, you will see this here." And I had an interview with the chef right on the spot. It lasted 5 minutes, and he asked me to come back the next Monday. And that was my first day. I started, I think it was September 1st, 1999. And I was one of 30 people in the kitchen. So we were a seasonal worker, just hire from September to December to help for the holiday season. At the time, they told us they would keep three of us, 30 people in the room. And 2 weeks before the end of the trial period, they told us they would keep one only. The very last day, they asked me to stay. So I was supposed to stay for 4 months at French in Paris, and I ended up staying close to 8 years. When I left, I was the corporate pastry chef in charge of developing shops across the world and teaching the entire chefs to how to work with a new menu and new ideas.
And then how did you make it to New York from there?
How did I make it to New York? That's a good question. I had a random call when I was still at French. Someone called me and asked to talk to me, and I was surprised on who was calling. It was Daniel Bourg. So Daniel, at the time, I heard that I might be interested into flying and exploring other opportunities. So I was still at Fauchon, traveling a lot for them, and I had expressed interest to some friends across the world that I would be interested into moving. And Daniel reached out to me, asked me if I wanted to be coming to New York. And at the time, I was like pretty surprised, but I told him that I had no good experience in a restaurant at this level of fine dining. And they still asked me to come to do tasting. I came here for a week. I made probably like 8 desserts for Daniel, and I still remember after starting the tasting, Daniel was eating the desserts and was sitting down. I was standing next to him. After eating the second dessert, he looked up and he was looking at me. He was like, "So when can you stop?"
Do you remember what you made it?
I made a few desserts. They were very simple at the time because like I had to find my style and I had to work on developing my own desserts, pellet desserts, which is a lot different than bakery desserts. And he just offered me a job like this on the spot. Telling that I was a bit nervous that I had never done this before at this level in fine dining. But still, after I talked to him that day, 8 weeks later, I was in New York City with 2 suitcases. And that's what I had. So I came here to New York. I was 28 years old, still young. And I started working for Daniel after just a few years. We earned the 3rd Michelin star at Daniel. And I was like some fabulous, close to 6 years. I spent almost 6 years at Daniel. I had the greatest memories, and it was not easy. It's a very challenging position, but I've learned so much from this man, and I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to be coming here in America first and start working for Daniel, which was my only job in the US actually.
Is that right? And then opening your own business. So you went straight from that to opening your bakery. Well, how did you find the difference between working in a bakery where you're doing production and you're putting out many things to plating desserts, creating the dessert menu?
So working in a bakery, it's a lot of planning, anticipating production, working with holidays, it's larger volumes, larger teams, and more equipment, more space. And working in a restaurant is it's more about seasonality, about knowing the products, about working with the season, selecting the best fruits, the best, sometimes vegetables, sometimes different ingredients from across the world, and finding ways to make it fit into the style of the restaurant. And it's very exciting, but it's also very challenging. At Daniel, we had the fine dining, but also the catering department, the banquet department, and later on the retail. So it's a whole different organization. When I was for a bakery in France, for Fauchon, I used to manage close to 100 people in the kitchen. And I left all of this to come work for Daniel to manage 10 people, which was easy for me. Managing people was easy, but working with the menu was a lot more challenging for me because something that I had never done before.
And did you find his kitchens to be, like you were saying, a place that was very calm, that was very, it was easy to mentor people?
Absolutely not. The kitchen of Daniel is not, no.
I actually knew this, which is why I was it's kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy. There's a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, there's a lot of people, there's so many things going on at the same time. You still have to stay calm. You still have to be composed and be a good leader, which I was trying to do every single day.
And now, so, and having your own place, do you find that you're creating a culture, you're creating a work culture, do you find that it's difficult, or is it easy for you to make it this sort of calmer,
I wouldn't say it's easy. It's not easy to really install the culture you want to work with. I mean, what I was doing at Danielle was managing the pastry kitchen, working on a new menu and managing a small team. What I'm doing now, it's a lot more complicated. I have more creative part of the job. I have more decision making, growing businesses. It's more leadership and mentoring the whole company, which is a lot different than just being a pastry chef. But the culture is very important for me. This is something that I spend a lot of time working on. It really depends on individuals and the people you hire too. This new generation of chefs, this new generation is a lot different than ours. And
how so?
I would say that our generation is a lot more resourceful, and we're used to do a lot of things that we don't know. We don't know how to do it, but we figure it out. The newer generation is more intent to expect things to be easier.
That's like the typical millennial problem. That's what we hear. Yeah. So they expect, but you're able to teach them and to,
You have to.
Yeah.
We have to. Everything we do, like from the pastries, from the conception of the desserts to how we serve the food, to how we run the business, how we work with our staff, we have to be flexible. And things change. Things change all the time, and we have to be flexible in those changes. And I think that people that are successful are always willing to adapt themselves and change based on everything they have around them.
Is there one thing in terms of your management style that you've changed, that you've learned from your employees that you've really changed and made better thanks to their feedback?
Yes, there are a lot of things, yeah. I have to say I'm a lot calmer now that I have my business than when I was at Daniel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's different, like people look up to you, people ask for advice, people ask for direction, and people expect you to be calm and to be leading them, so you cannot.
I imagine you all ruffled. You are very calm. Okay, let's talk Cronut because we have to. So tell us a story. How did it come about? This very famous pastry that is. Do you still, by the way, are there still lines for the Cronut?
Yes, every single morning.
How many years has it been?
It's been
2 years, right?
close to 4.
Oh my
Close to 4 years now.
Jesus.
This line every single morning. So how it started, I have to say first that we have 2 bakeries in New York, a bakery in London, a bakery in Tokyo, but I didn't start it like this. I didn't start like this, and I started 5 years ago in this little street of Spring Street, on this little bakery, and at the time I only had 4 employees. You believe me or not, I only had 4 employees 5 years ago. 2 people in the kitchen, 3 young cooks, and 2 baristas. And I opened the door to this bakery being really, really, really nervous and anxious and worried about people coming and not to the bakery. Because before opening, I was told that a French bakery will not work in New York City. I was told that I should only sell cupcakes, cheesecake, and sandwiches. And I had, during this whole time, this whole process of leaving Danielle, getting ready, and opening the bakery, I had a lot of bad advice from people who were not necessarily understanding of what I was trying to do and trying to give advice. Oh, you should do this, you should do that, you shouldn't do this. And I decided very early on not to listen to anyone. I had my own vision of what I wanted to do. Maybe it was crazy. When I look back now, I think it was a little bit. I think it was like, there's a lot of things I had no idea how to do, but I figured it out. And I left Danielle, and 7 weeks later, opened the bakery in Springfield. So it was very, very fast. I only had 4 employees. I had all my savings, and that was it. It was very, very risky. The Cronut, to answer your question, it came up just by doing what I was doing every single day. I kept on looking at my pastries. I keep on looking at my customers every day and seeing what they were excited about, what they wanted to see, and what else I could give them. So I start changing the menu every 6 to 8 weeks. I will constantly keep on changing pastries, the viennoiserie, the ice cream, and being I want to do chocolate. I don't want to do everything, but I was a little bit too much. So I had to calm down a little bit and focus on what people will enjoy. And I remember being sitting at a quick meeting with only 4 of us, with the team at the time, with the management team, and brainstorming about what else we could do. And someone had suggested to do a donut. So I told them, I can try, but I'm French. I have no recipe for donuts. And I work on something that I thought could be fun. I work mostly in croissants, and I always love the texture of croissant. And I want to combine the best of both worlds. I worked on a recipe for over 3 months. At the time, I was 2 years in business and had just taken 4 days off just to get some rest. And I was like, when I get back, I will start this and for Mother's Day, and we'll see just for the weekend. And of course, I had no idea what was happening. Had a blogger coming by the bakery, snapped a photo, put in his blog on a Friday afternoon, and he called me on Friday night. Called me on my cell phone. He was like, "Do you know what? Do you know what happened to me? The article went viral." It was really fun. I was like, "Great, I'm happy for you." I was like, no, you don't understand. The increased traffic on my website is 300% right now. And I had over 140,000 links to this article in just a couple hours. I was like, good. I had no idea what I was talking about. I was like, I think you should do more tomorrow. Like, you're going to be busy. I was like, yeah, I'm busy over the weekend. We have a small team, and there's so much we can do. I made 35 the first day, which was, quite a lot, considering like our tiny kitchen. Our kitchen is probably like, say, a little square here. We have one table with a dishwasher right next to it. If you go to the big Spring Street, you will see everything is right there. Nothing is hidden. And the next day I made 50. And they were all gone in just a few minutes, of course. And by the third day, I had over 150 people waiting outside. And the craze began, and then everyone was talking about it, writing about it. I saw media from all over the world coming to the bakery, lining up for the donut. And that was painful. That was very painful reading, and I was shocked, to see what was happening. And I had no idea how to handle all of this. I was overwhelmed. All of my staff just wanted to quit. They couldn't deal with customers, like pissed off and unhappy about not having enough. It was a huge struggle. It was really painful for us to live. I decided to stay calm once again and to go one day at a time. We slowly hire a few more people. It took me some time to hire good people. We slowly increased production, and we slowly satisfied every guest by keep on changing. Right after the coronet, I decided to keep on changing and keep on creating as well. The good thing about the coronet, there's so many good things about the coronet, but one of the best things I will say is that the first year I decided to have charities with the coronet, so we auctioned off 24 coronets and we raised over $100,000. Went for charity to fight against hunger in New York City. And it's,
24, 2 dozen, or $100,000.
With different charities. And all the money went to different charities in New York City to fight against hunger, which is something that I suffered from when I was a kid, and I wanted to help with. And it's great to have a chance to reach out to bigger things while doing what I love.
Okay, well then I was going to ask the next question is, do you having ever regretted thinking, I wish I'd never done the cronut, but it's hard to.
You know what, I thought of it in the beginning, yes, it was so painful. I really thought of it, but stepping back, I think it opens a lot of doors and allow me to keep on doing what I love, which is creating. After the cronut, we created the frozen s'mores. So it's a version of a s'mores, which is an ice cream version of it, with a vanilla ice cream coated with a chocolate wafer. It's pushed inside the honey marshmallow. We put on a wooden branch, thin smoke with apple wood, and we torch the marshmallow to order. So the outside shell caramelizes, and when you bite inside, it's crunchy, it's warm, it's chewy. It's one of my favorites.
In your book, you write your favorite things, vanilla ice cream.
It is,
So
yeah.
there's your way to vanilla ice cream.
After the frozen s'mores, I created the cookie shot. So it's a chocolate chip cookie shaped as shot glass, where we pour fresh warm milk to order. So the cookie is warm, the milk is ice cold, flavor of vanilla, and it's like it's like close to the roots of like American tradition, and drinking milk and eating cookies is just amazing. It's not something I grew up doing, but something I wish I had.
You're getting into the spirit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So croissants, though, that was your thing when you were a kid. You also wrote that croissants were.
Croissant. I was eating a lot of croissant when I was a kid because it was cheap and easy to get anywhere.
Delicious. And so, and then the Queen Amman has the same, very similar dough, and that is also one of your signatures.
So the Cognac is a French classic pastry. It's from Brittany. I call it the DKA, and the only reason why I call it the DKA stands for Dominique Cognac. The only reason why I call it DKA is because no one can pronounce Cognac. So not only Americans, but even French people, they're having a hard time pronouncing Cognac, and nobody knows what that is. So funny enough, and when I did my own version of the Cognac, which is the DK, at the bakery before the opening, and people absolutely loved it. I remember doing it as a snack at Daniel for Manage meeting, and people were going crazy for it. And I liked it because I've had it before many times, and my own version was much lighter than the traditional one. Very, very flaky. It's like a flaky caramelized croissant with a nice little crunch on the outside, and flaky tender center, and a little bit gooey in the center. It's absolutely delicious. A croissant for you.
All right.
If you stay to the end, you'll have some.
All right, well, on that note, I'm going to open up because I'm just Australian. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to open up. I want to hear from all of you. I'd love you to come and ask questions. If you could just stand up, I'll repeat the question so everyone can hear.
You can hear.
You think everyone can hear? If you can't, let me know and we'll repeat the question. Okay, who has a question for?
How many kronos do you sell a daily now?
How many kronos we sell a day? We sell. I mean, we do as many as we can. Our kitchen is very, very tiny. Once again, there's only one table. We try to do between 400 and 500 every day. But we don't do more than that because I want to keep the control and the controlling and the quality of our product. So, and I also want people to see the rest of our pastries, which are very creative and very special on their own.
How many and what time do they sell out by? So everybody knows what time to line up.
It depends on the days. Usually we have a line of between 80 to 120 people in average. So we open the doors at 8 o'clock. The first people will line up as early as 7 o'clock, sometimes even earlier. In the beginning it was hardcore, like people were coming at 2 o'clock in the morning. Please don't come at 2 o'clock in the morning. But now we sell out usually, depending on how many people we sell, of course, around like 10, 30 of the cognac. But we have plenty of delicious things, like the DK, which is actually my favorite. I shouldn't tell you that.
You write it in the book. Which, by the way, everybody, the book is really marvelous. You don't have any with you today, but it's for sale at bookstores, and it's a wonderful read. What other questions?
Do you have plans for expansions of the cronut and of your bakeries in the United States outside of Manhattan?
Well,
because I live in New Jersey and I asked for cronut, and they look at me like if I was coming from the moon. So I had to.
I have no plan for New Jersey yet. But there's opportunities always offered to me in the States and across the world. What's important for me is not to expand too fast. I want to be mindful and careful of our brand and what we've built. When I launched the cognac, a lot of factories came up to me asking me to mass market the cognac and to sell it all across the world, not in the country, which is something I refuse on doing because I believe in my creations, and I didn't want to kill it. I didn't want to destroy it. So it's something that we've trained more very
Alright.
early on.
So I have to come at 7 a.m. in Manhattan. It's
I'm
okay.
sorry, you have to come every morning. And you know, like it's something that's very fragile. It's not a product that lasts forever. The shelf life is actually 8 to 10 hours. And it's not something you can mass market, and it's something that I want to preserve.
Actually, here's a question for you. Is the line in London and the line in Tokyo the same?
So the line in London and Tokyo are a little different. The shop in Tokyo first opened a little bit later, so the line will not be always as long, but they will last. There will always be a line during the day,
Okay.
and in Tokyo it's a little bit the same.
Okay, you had a question.
Yes, so I listened to you talking about peanut butter, cookies, s'mores. So I understand that you make French dessert with an American touch or American dessert with a French touch. Would your dessert pair well with fabulous French wines from the south of France, the Languedoc-Roussillon, for example? Such as Maurier, is that?
Yeah, all desserts will. Wine always, I would say yes.
Okay,
I love wine, yes. I love wine from the south of France. A nice sweet wine will work first.
Yeah, I can't wait to do the pairing over there. We have some of those lined up to enjoy with the dessert.
Well, thanks for coming. As now a global brand, can you talk a little bit about the way you select your ingredients and whether you think about sustainability at all?
Well, the way I select my ingredients, ingredients are really important for me. What I feed people with is very important. We always invest in the best quality ingredient possible. For instance, our butter is an 80% fat content butter, which is the highest quality. That is from Vermont. It's a lot more expensive than any other butter on the market, but it's something that is important for me. The quality of the product we use and what we feed people with is very important. I always try to look back at our recipes and try to see how we can make them better. A lot of recipes that I tell chefs all the time, a lot of recipes that I have, that my generation has, is of course based off the previous generation, which was using a lot of butter, sugar as natural preservatives. And those recipes are a little bit old, and the people's taste has changed as well. So I always try to look at our recipes and turn down the sugar. I'm very sensitive to anything sweet actually. I don't like things that are too sweet because I believe it's like sugar is like salt. If you put too much, you just kill the flavors, and it's not, it's not the best thing for the food and for you either. So I always like turn down the sugar level, the butter content, or always look at how we can better ourselves every day.
So in your two businesses in New York, the bakery and the kitchen, you have they're quite different operations. So the bakery seems much more of a traditional, what we consider a pâtisserie, boulangerie, whatever it is, but the kitchen is something else. It's almost like you've taken the style of a restaurant pastry kitchen and imposed it into a retail shop. And I'm wondering, was this covering two sides of you that you want to honor, or it was a way of experimenting more one way or another?
That's a great question. The ANSEL bakery, so our bakery on Spring Street is our first business, and the ANSEL kitchen in the West Village is a whole new different concepts where we take thyme as an ingredient and we finish desserts to order. So think of, for example, a lemon tart. Most bakery will make lemon tart. They have a thick shell. They'll put the curd inside the tart, leave it in the fridge for hours and hours. It will dry. It will be thick. It will be like cold. And the way we do our lemon tart at the kitchen, we don't do it at the bakery. The way we do it at the kitchen is that we have a thin tart shell, like thin like paper, and we emulsify the curd to order, meaning that we mix the butter and the curd. For this, actually use a milkshake maker, which I find amazing to emulsify the curd. I use milkshake maker, emulsify the curd to order, and pour it in this thin tart shell. So you have this beautiful, like smooth, like creamy cure that you can eat with this, just with a spoon, and the texture is super thin. It's like the freshest tart ever. And it's, you know, it's the experiencing this that is important for me when at a time where everyone was asking me what's next, what else you gonna create, and they thought I was going to create like more hybrid pastries, but I gave them a hybrid bakery, which was a cross between a bakery and almost like a restaurant where we finish not only pastries but also savory food made to order for people.
Do you continue when you expand internationally, do you, in the locations, are you going one direction or another, or do you anticipate kind of a combination of the two?
Well, I have not expanded that much, as I was saying earlier. I'm pretty conservative, and I believe that if we everything I invest myself in, I invest myself 100% in. I actually talk to our team in Tokyo and London daily. Believe me or not, I talk to them daily by email, by phone call, WhatsApp, Line, or if you guys know, like I talk to them daily and I keep on communicating to make sure that we're on the right track with our customers, with our clientele. And Tokyo and London and New York are completely different clientele. But there's still a market for what I do. There's still a way to reach out to the community, to reach out to the locals and understand the culture and adapt our pastries based on that culture. And right now we just have developed Dominican style bakery in different countries, but it is eventually an option to develop Dominican style kitchen later.
You talked about all the challenges that you had to face in your business, specifically when success came. What helped you the most to face all those challenges? Do you practice yoga? Do you have a secret recipe? What is it that you use to...
I wish I practiced yoga.
Do you meditate? What is it?
No, I don't meditate, unfortunately. I usually, when I go home, it takes me about 35 seconds to fall asleep. I don't sleep much, I sleep 3 to 4 hours a night. Wake up at 4 o'clock, go to bed, not before midnight, and any given day. I'm pretty busy between the four locations, and I don't want to let anything go. I want to be here for the team, and I'll make sure we keep track on everything. I think the best thing is to do the right thing. To do the right thing it sounds silly, it sounds simple, but we all know what the right thing is to do. For instance, the cronut, the right thing is to preserve the creativity, to preserve the product. But the natural things, and anyone who have done in my place, they will have sell out, they will have mass produce the cronut. I can guarantee you. So doing the right thing, like people always know what's the right thing is to do, but the hardest is actually to do it, to stick with it and to do it. Not setting up, keep on giving quality product, keep on focusing on the customers and the experience. It's something important for me. It's not easy every day. We're not 100% successful every day, but we always look at ourselves and see how we can improve ourselves.
Are there fake cronuts around? I'm thinking of La Durée and macaroons and the Magnolia cupcakes. Has that reached your business?
I mean, La Durée and Magnolia are two different businesses that we do different product.
But no one is copying, so I don't have to look at your trademark stamped on cronuts when I buy
I
one.
mean, there's a lot. I think there's a lot of people that try to copy it around the world, not only here. I think it's a matter of understanding that what a trademark is. There's a lot of people that just don't know in our industry of chefs and people working in the kitchen. They just don't know the difference. I remember my lawyer coming to the bakery and at the time we were trademarking the bakery, and she told me that I should trademark the cronut. And I told her that it was not necessary, and I don't know why she wanted me to do that. And she explained to me that if I was not going to do it, there's an industrial, like a big company that will come, trademark it, and stop me from using my own product.
That's That's very true.
And this is a matter of protection. And there's a lot of small businesses that are being bullied by the big leader of the industry that unfortunately don't know about these things. And it's not about like wanting to own something so desperately, it's more about protecting yourself.
Actually, this happened to Babe Ruth. He wasn't allowed to, you know, the Babe Ruth candy bar? He was not allowed, I forget which candy company started with, sorry, I'm just gonna tell the story. He wasn't allowed, whatever corporate, yeah, you take road, whatever corporate company started the Babe Ruth, they trademarked it, they trademarked his name, and he wasn't allowed to sell anything with his name, even though it was his name. So that was very smart.
It happens all the time in the food industry, which is one of the most trademark industry in the world. If you look at it, you go to the supermarket, there's tons and tons of shelves of different brands, and it's all like food.
Any other questions before?
So since you invented the